here momentarily. All right, it looks like we are good to go. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Kansas City Oasis. My name is Nikki Actipis, and I will be your host this morning. And so if you are new to our community, we are a secular educational nonprofit here in Kansas City. We work on both sides of the state line. We've got everybody from everywhere sometimes. And we have 5 core values here at Kansas City Oasis. And they are: people are more important than beliefs, reality is known through reason, human hands solve human problems, meaning comes from making a difference, be accepting and be accepted. And we have a pretty cool lineup happening today. It is all Oasis members across the board for our music, community moment, and our speaker. So our music this morning is going to be our very own JJ, and we have Audra as our community moment, and we have Brittany Rhodes as our featured speaker, going to talk about what they've been up to, and I'm not going to ruin it with too much detail off the top. So I believe JJ has reappeared, and they're under Ariston. Is that? Oh no, I see JJ.
Morning, everybody.
It
Is
is all you, man.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Um,
It's all good.
yeah, my little audio thing's not working, so I'm gonna have to do this with the webcam mic.
You know,
We have.
improv.
So let me know if you can hear the guitar. Sorry about that too. Then. I can do it like this. So yeah, our original musician couldn't make it, so I'm making stuff up today. If anybody's got any requests, type it in the chat. I probably won't know it. But if I do, oh man. Alright, fine. Took all of. It has taken longer for light to travel to the moon from the earth than it took for Julie to request Free Fallin'. She's a good girl, loves her mama, loves Jesus and America too. She's a good girl, she's crazy about Elvis, loves horses and her boyfriend too. It's a long day living in Reseda. There's a freeway running through the yard. I'm a bad boy, 'cause I don't even miss her. I'm a bad boy for breaking her heart. And I'm free, free falling. Yes, I'm free, free falling. And all the vampires walking through the valley move west down Ventura Boulevard. And all the bad boys are standing in the shadows. All the good girls are home with broken hearts. And I'm free, free falling down, down now. Yes, I'm free, free falling down. Wanna glide down over Mulholland, wanna ride her name in the sky, gonna free fall out into nothing, gonna leave this world for a while, and I'm free, free falling down. Yes, I'm free, free falling down now, now. And I'm free, free falling down. Yes, I'm free, free falling down, down now. That's a good request. Hope y'all enjoyed that one. That's one of the classic covers that have been played a billion times at Oasis. 1,000,001 now. I do have a little Google spreadsheet up, keeps count of this thing. Just that song though, I never know when I do the others. If I leave here tomorrow, would you still remember me? I must be traveling on now. There's too many places I got to be. If I stay here with you, girl, things just couldn't be the same. I'm as free as a bird now, and this bird you cannot change. Whoa, and this bird you cannot change, and this bird you will not change. Lord knows I can't change. Bye, bye, baby, it's been sweet love, yeah, yeah. Though these feelings I'll never change. Please don't take it so badly. Lord knows I'll never change. If I stay here with you, girl, things just couldn't be the same. I'm as free as a bird now, and this bird you cannot change. Whoa, and this bird you cannot change, and this bird you will not change. Lord knows I can't change. Lord help me, I can't change. Lord, I can change. Won't you fly high, oh free bird, yeah. Plus 6 minutes of guitar solos. All right, I'll be back later.
Thank you. I was trying to think of something witty to say, and it just was not happening.
You can't say anything wittier than the triple guitar leads that occurred in the end of Freebird.
You are correct, JJ. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for stepping in today for our absentee musician, and we will hear back from you again a little bit. So before we transition over to our community moment for today, I have a few announcements. The first one being that Veronica Schrader has a birthday today. So if you are friends with them on Facebook, stop over, say hello, happy birthday, good job making it through another year, or whatever. Send them some snacks, whatever you want to do to show some love to Veronica today. And my second announcement is Clay finished a Ironman last week, and we just want to congratulate him for doing all of that running and whatever else happens in an Ironman. So if you are friends with Clay on Facebook or in real life, say congratulations for being such a powerhouse, because that's pretty awesome. So next up, we have our community moment. And as some of you may or may not, our community moment is somebody usually from the community that has something to share about their lives or an important topic they really want to talk about. And so today we have Audra going to do a community moment for us. And as with tradition, her 3 words are curious, determined, and resilient. And her warning label is coffee first. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Audra.
Thank you.
To share your screen, and you are good to go.
All right. So hang on for me, guys, 1 second. I am not a Zoom master. I had to go to my regular workplace all last year, and I did not learn how to use Zoom. So I am a little behind the curve on that. So can everybody see my screen? Okay, great, thanks. All right, so
no, I don't think your screen is sharing.
It's not? You don't see it?
No.
So some people see it, but not everyone sees it. Okay, hang on. Try again.
There you go. Perfect.
Does that work better?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So as you can see, the title of my presentation is Family Lore Did Not Prepare Me for This. How history shows that I am an American because my ancestors were petty opportunists, the wrong kind of famous, and that one bossy guy that gets a lot of press but was actually kind of a jerk. So we can think of this as kind of a hybrid history lesson based in my family history. So back over here, a little bit about me. My name is Audra. I've been a Kansas City metro area resident for 2 years now, and this is my 3rd time being a community moment presenter. And if I can do it 3 times, y'all can do it once. I'm running out of stories. There is a content warning in my presentation. Incest is mentioned once with no details, but I promise this is mostly a funny story. Okay. So do you remember, I don't know if they still do this, but do you remember in elementary school when they would send you home with the family tree worksheet and you had to bug your mom about the real names of people that you only knew as grandma and grandpa? I don't know if they still do that. I always hated those assignments because they didn't represent my family. I had at one point like 5 grandmothers and 1 grandpa, and I didn't really know any of their real names. And the other thing is that half my slots would have been blank because some of the people in my family tree are legitimately evil and they were shunned, and that's not a conversation that you feel comfortable having at like 9 years old in the 4th grade. So I didn't like those assignments very much. And then of course there was always that one kid, the one kid I'm talking about. I know you know who I mean. That one kid that brought in the scroll, right? And he'd unravel it in the classroom and it like went the entire length of the floor, and it showed how he was like descended from King James or some nonsense. Anyway, I didn't have that going for me. So in answer to the question of where did you come from, I used to always say, oh, my family has been in the Americas so long, we came over with the Pilgrims, because that's the story we all know, right? We all know the story of the Pilgrims, and no one's ever going to catch me in that lie, right? It's just a small white lie, kind of a social lubricant. Yeah. So if you remember my first community moment, you'll remember that I had a close call with Mormonism that I luckily escaped. But some of my family stayed and left the church much later with an interest in genealogy. And one of my paternal grandmothers did an extensive amount of research on her side of the family. And once she kind of broke through the barrier, because she had been doing it old school for a long time, but the internet and like Ancestry and stuff really opened up the game. So she kind of busted through a wall, and guess what? I actually am descended from the Mayflower, which is kind of interesting. So yeah. So my family originated with Miles Standish, who, as you may know, wasn't a religious settler. He was an admin guy. He was also a military brute and an elitist power broker. Not a nice guy, but he's very, very famous. So that's kind of cool. Anyway, that's how my little grammar school lie ended up becoming the truth. But the other part, the less flattering part of that truth, is that we are also related to the colonial families through the Rood family, which, if you are an American history buff, you'll know that Thomas Rood was the first white man to be hanged on American soil for the crime of incest. So Nana did not like it very much when we talked about that part of the family, but I think it keeps us humble. So I like to bring it up whenever possible. Okay, so that's the paternal line, a little bit of American history there for you, a little bit of trivia might come in handy someday. The maternal DNA is a little bit different. My grandmother, my mother's mother, was descended from Irish immigrants. We have a checkered past on that side, and I don't know that all of it is true, but these are the things that I have managed to glean are true. So her family name was Malin. We know that that's a real place in Ireland. There's still, the family name is still on various geography markers in that area. And that's not super interesting. But the other side of her family is she's actually a bona fide Jew, immigrated from Europe in the late 1800s. A little region there you'll see called Alsace-Lorraine between France and Germany. So my grandmother and my mother were always hugely proud of this heritage and really pushed the "we're from German Jews" narrative, which is super misleading for all sorts of reasons that I'm about to get into. But what we know for certain is that Herbert Levy immigrated to the United States from a small German town near Erfurt in 1878. This is probably the source of the German Jew lore that I was raised with, but let's sidebar with a little history. So I took a German history class last semester at Mizzou, and it kind of sent me on this wild goose chase. I ended up coming into contact with information that fit into my family history completely by accident. But let's just sidebar with a little history real quick. So you'll remember that most of the borders we're familiar with today are either the result of post-World War II treaties or post-Soviet collapse in the Eastern Bloc. France and Germany themselves are better historically identified by their empires rather than their borders. One of these empires was led by the German state of Prussia and its leader, Otto von Bismarck. So Bismarck thought a bunch of German city-states was silly and wanted a big old country, but getting squabbling Germans who barely spoke the same language to agree was going to be a real challenge. So he decided to pick a fight with France instead first, and that was in like 1870, 1871. It was called the Franco-Prussian War, and the Francos lost. One of the things that they lost was the Alsace-Lorraine region, which went to Germany, who incorporated it into their brand spanking new country. And they needed that fertile land because Austria noped right out of their country business. So at the time, Alsace-Lorraine had a robust population of individuals who considered themselves Frenchmen first and Jews a far distant second. They were loyal and nationalist and, French. So in fact, they were so French that when they realized that the border had crossed them, many of them decided to just yeet themselves off the continent than ever consider themselves German. They hated Germany so much. They just yeeted themselves off the continent and came to America. So my family entered America through New York in 1888, I think is the number that we tracked down, but within 10 years had made their way to Los Angeles, where they quickly established themselves as rich snobs. So there's a very robust Jewish community in Los Angeles that's been there since the turn of the 20th century. They have a well-established community, many places of worship, and lots of money. So my family owned a rather lucrative lumber business that supplied many of the burgeoning Hollywood studios of the 20s and 30s. In fact, and I'm not sure that this is true, but Grandma said that one of the movies that they contributed to was Gone with the Wind and the Atlanta burning scene. That scene is actually a bunch of old sets being burned, but they for supplemental lumber, supposedly my family contributed to that. I don't know if that's true or not. I do know that They also had several substantial interests in the oil derricks on Signal Hill, which is all super cool, but nothing I would ever come into contact with because their daughter, Helen, married an Irish Gentile. And we don't know if she was kicked out of the family or if she just gave them all the middle finger and said, deuces, I'm out. But given how disagreeable all the women in my family are, I can well imagine either scenario, maybe a little bit of both. So anyway, that's a little bit of American history and immigrant history for you, tied in with my family tree. Yeah, and that's that. All right, thank you.
Well, thank you so much for that. That was probably the second time ever I've heard the word yeet used correctly. The first time being one of my students who was talking about yeeting her little sister because she stole some markers. So thank you for teaching me more uses for the word yeet.
Okay.
And also just a question from me. So you have all this wonderful knowledge about your family, or maybe dubious knowledge,
yes,
however you want to put it, that you've compiled from the internet and just family history in general. Has anybody in your family ever taken like a 23andMe and found other blood relatives, or is that something that you all want to do? Or
so the only person that I know of, so I don't speak to a large portion of my family anymore because really they're legit evil. So most of this stuff is just kind of cobbled together. It was my history class that kind of blew open the German Jew thing happening. I knew we had come from Germany, and I knew that we were Jewish. My grandmother's mother's maiden name was Levy. Didn't know how that happened because they didn't seem to be religious. And it is true that when they were in Europe, they were like, it's a historical documented fact that the Jewish community in the Alsace-Lorraine region was like, yeah, Jewish, whatever, we're French. We eat French bread and cheese, and we're not interested in, in a lot of other things. So when they had discovered that the border had crossed them, there was a huge exodus because they were French, and the French are kind of, French. They didn't want to be German. As far as 23andMe goes, only my daughter has taken that test. And of course, for that particular one, it only traces your mitochondrial DNA. So she only knows the side and my mother's side, which is fine. We're mostly Northern European minus Scandinavia. So yeah.
Well, it's just cool to get all that information, but also, as you said, I also don't talk to a lot of my family anymore for specific reasons.
Right.
So sometimes you just come into trouble of more blood relatives find you and you're just like, no, thank you.
Oh yeah, see, and that's actually that's a good reason for not getting involved with that too much. Yeah. Like, I liked my chosen family. Thanks anyway.
That is perfectly valid. Well, thank you again so much, especially for this being your third community moment, and you've only been in KC for 2 years. So thank you so much again. And hopefully we will see you back here for something else, maybe within the year.
That would be great.
Awesome. So thank you so much again. I'm gonna let you go, and hopefully if you have questions for Audra, you're welcome to drop them in the chat, or if you see her during coffee break, ask more ridiculous questions, and hopefully she has some ridiculous answers for you. So at this moment in time, as I'm setting up breakout rooms, here is my chance to plug if you would like to become a community moment by coming and telling us anything and everything about your life, from your family history, or if you met a really cool vegetable that you just really want to talk about vegetables for like 10 minutes, that's cool. Reach out to Mark Dixon. He schedules community moments, and we would love to see you do a community moment. So with that, We are now going to take about 10 minutes in our coffee break. You are being chat rouletted into rooms, but in a PG style. So we will see you back here in 10 minutes.
Hey, Nikki,
Yes.
you're really cool.
You are pretty cool yourself, JJ.
I know.
Your hair's looking good today, by the way.
It's kind of fluffy. I woke up super late, so I didn't get a shower.
That's okay. I'm unshowered too, so it's all good. So, welcome back, everybody. Hopefully, you had a good coffee break. And I'm going to turn it immediately over to JJ to play us our next song.
All right, you guys want to hear another cover? I'm going to do one that I've never done before. You know the rule. I've never done the song before, so I've got to play the song for Oasis. And find my guitar pick. All right, so yeah. Oh, somebody asked about my Venmo in the chat. I'll put it back in there in case anybody wants to give me a tip. Then I can buy fancy lunch for Noms and it'll be tasty. I'll be all happy. You'll see me tear up and then I'll cry some, but you'd have to be there at lunch. Hello, hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again. Because a vision softly creeping left its seeds while I was sleeping. And the vision that was planted in my brain still remains within the sound of silence. In restless dreams I walked alone, narrow streets of cobblestone, neath the halo of a street lamp. I turned my collar to the cold and damp, when my eyes were stabbed by a flash of neon light that split the night and touched the sound of silence. And in the naked light I saw 10,000 people, maybe more. People talking without speaking. People hearing without listening. People writing songs that voices never share. And no one dared disturb the sound of silence. Fools, I said, you do not know. Silence like a cancer grows. Hear my words that I might teach you. Take my arms that I might reach you. But my words, like silent raindrops, fell down in the wells of silence. And the people bowed and prayed to the neon gods they made. And the sign flashed out its warning, and the signs were forming. And the sun said the words or the prophets are written on the subway walls and tenement halls that whispered in the sound of silence.
Thank you, JJ. that was pretty good for a first time playing that song for anybody. So thank you, and we will see you at the end of the program. So up next, we have our very own Brittany Rhodes. And if I can find them on my little thing here to spotlight them. So Brittany is obviously one of our very own community members, and they are here this morning to talk about their role at the Jewish Family Services, along with just what the JFS is up to. And I'm going to turn it over to you, Brittany, because you can say things better about yourself and what you're up to better than I can ever. So I'm going to stop talking, and it's all on you, my friend.
Well, I am so grateful for all of you. I have been part of Oasis since the beginning. Oasis is as old as my oldest daughter. So I feel a special connection because I missed the first couple months of Oasis from having a small human. And I haven't been very active during the pandemic, but just have been buoyed along knowing that you're all there, out there in the universe, just kind of doing all the amazing things that you do. So I'm just glad to be here. Hi, I'm Brittany. I know almost all of you, and some of you I'm related to also. I have to shout out, especially because I can. My mom is here this morning, and my kids are as well. So it's basically a family reunion. Thank you all for coordinating that for me. I am going to share a quick PowerPoint just of what I've been doing over the past year at JFS. I started at JFS in May of 2020. Before that, I was working at a Catholic nursing home. And it's a little bit different to go from the Catholic nursing home to a Jewish human services agency. I say that's one of the benefits of being unaffiliated is I can play for any team. So I'm now at JFS. I'm currently the food pantry manager, although I have my official profile shot here that was actually taken back when we were all in Denver a few years back. But I did update my actual professional photograph for the pandemic time. So while I've been working in person at the food pantry most of the time, anytime I've been attending a meeting, this has basically been my reaction. So I want to share the website down at the bottom of the screen, jfskc.org, and then the phone number 913-327-8250. That's the best way to get in contact with JFS, just in general. That is our main help number, that 913 number. It's a program called our Navigator that takes your information confidentially and can help provide you with resources. So I'm going to say that at the beginning and at the end, just because I think you might need it at some point. So quick history is that JFS was originally founded under the United Jewish Charities. It also later turned into Menorah Medical Center. It was founded on Tikkun Olam, which is repairing the world one person, one family at a time, which really connects with the Oasis way of doing things, that, you know, you can't do everything for everyone, but you can always do something for someone. And that's been one of my favorite parts about working for JFS. I want to share also our non-discrimination policy. I'm not going to read it to you, but I want you to know it's a good one. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't. We are an organization that accepts everyone, regardless of anything, basically. I am happy that my organization for JFS, they include, you know, pronouns as required as part of the email signatures. We have trans and pride flags hanging in the offices. We don't limit services based on immigration status or ability to show ID. We serve everyone equally. I have a phrase I like to use that in the food pantry, by bus or by Bentley, we serve them all the same. So if there's a way to get you connected with JFS services and you need them, we would love to do that. So 2020, this is the obligatory spot where I say, man, what a year. Haven't we all been through so much? We know that, but we have some numbers to prove it here at JFS. So we've done a lot in a little. Like I said, I started in May of 2020. My family went into isolation, self-quarantine March 17th, and I tried working from home, but could not do it once I realized that my background in culinary management, and there were people in lines for hours and hours, and that I could do something to help. And so I quit my old job, stumbled into this job, didn't know what I was getting into, and I really love it. And I'm not saying that just because we're broadcasting live and it's possible that my boss's bosses are watching, but I really love being part of JFS because those of you who have known me for a long time in my militant kindness activism thing, still doing that. And that is one of the things that I love most, is being able to take people and food and put them together. So some of the services that we provide at JFS are mental health and education, older adult services, Jewish life services, and then Kesher KC. I'm going to talk a lot about Kesher KC. We don't really need this slide. I thought about taking it out, but I have to show off that Miss Juneteenth Kansas City, Kelly G. Loeb, is in the car there. She is one of my coworkers here, and I am just proud as all get out to know her, and she is fabulous in real life. And in her work, and represents JFS as Miss Juneteenth in Kansas City. So that's her with our other coworker, Sarah, who nominated her for Miss Juneteenth. And I'm just happy to know her. So I just want to brag that I'm famous by knowing her. So mental health and education, 2019 to 2020, there was 50% increase. We did about 4,000 counseling sessions with about 300 clients. We have a program that's called UBU, which is a teen mental health program. And our case managers who run that program go into schools and train teachers and students to be mental health advocates for themselves and for each other. And this is, again, the obligatory, man, wasn't that a year to address mental health back in 2020? But this is a program that we're still doing. It's a program that existed pre-pandemic, and it's going to continue post-pandemic. And it's worth looking up. There is a website that I should have memorized, but I don't. You can always look up jfskc.org to find out how to get connected with the UBU program if that's something you need. Our older adults are a big part of our agency. We have clients who are Holocaust survivors. We have older adults in the community who are not Jewish. Oh, I do need to say, there's no requirement to be Jewish to receive JFS services. And we take care of everybody. So our care managers include help at home services, where we actually have handy persons who go in and make repairs of the home. Things that would normally cost a lot of money are subsidized through JFS. It is a fee-based service, but it's less than you'd be paying otherwise. We offer Jet Express, which is basically Uber for older adults with a friendly volunteer. And that we get them to doctor's appointments. We get them to the grocery store, anywhere that they would normally be maybe driving themselves and not comfortable. We have somebody take them, and that's really great. Calling Connections has been a big thing over 2020, because obviously with older adults being most at risk with coronavirus at the beginning, there was a lot of isolation and mental health worries that went along with that. So we had volunteers and staff who made connections on a daily, weekly, regular basis, and would just call and listen. And we all know the importance of just hearing someone, talking to somebody really makes a difference. We also provide Medicare counseling. We also assist with, Medicare counseling services. So we're able to save our clients money that can then go to other things. As far as Jewish life goes, I am not Jewish again, so I can't help direct in many ways except to point you in the direction of, the people who are part of the spiritual care and the chaplaincy that we do. We had 4 babies born in 2020 through the program of Priya, which is IVF services mostly for Jewish families. We also had 160 families receive Passover and high holiday food, which is typically more expensive because it is kosher, it's supervised. And then we also had 357 Hanukkah Project recipients. And these are people that might not have been connected to otherwise. So while we are not exclusively Jewish, that is obviously the focus of our services as the foundations of what we what we try to do. But the important part is Kesher KC, and that is connections to food and a more secure future. And the reason why that's important, because that's the part I get to be part of. So Kesher means connection. So it's not just food, it's also our social work. Our social workers do a lot, 122% increase in social work connections. And about 70% of our clients are enrolled in 2 programs or more. So if they're coming to us for the food pantry, they're also in social work. If they're coming to us in the food pantry, they're also connected with Help at Home. If they're connected with social work, they're also connected with counseling. So all of these things go together. And we're able to provide 745 people with some financial aid, and that includes utility support, rent and mortgage assistance. And this is just through JFS. This is separate from the connections that our social workers make to other agencies in the community that are doing support services. This is the part I get most excited about because it's the part I get to do Monday to Friday. We had a 99% increase in families served from 2019 to 2020. It's a lot of people, and we're still not done, and we're not slowing down. We have about 1,500 families that we see every month, and that's in both locations. We have a location at the Jewish Community Center, which is at 115th and Knoll, and then we have our location on the Missouri side in Brookside, which is on 63rd Street. We see everybody all the time, Monday to Friday, by appointment only. So this is not an agency where you're going to see people lined up waiting for hours to be served, and they get, just an automatic service of here's what you get and, be on your way. Our services are by appointment. So we know who to expect. We know the special requirements that their family has. We know that one in three families receive pet food as well, which if you have pets, that can add up. We also provide diapers and incontinence supplies. We provide over-the-counter medicines when they're available. We provide toilet paper, paper towels, cleaning supplies. The things that food stamps don't buy is a big component of what we do as well. This is the pantry team. Hey, those are my people. I am in almost all of these except for the one with Gary. Gary's over there by himself in the top corner there. My boss is Jo Hickey. She's a fantastic person. You've probably seen her on the news. She's generally talking about the food pantry and what we do. I'm the Kesher KC food pantry manager. Then we have a pantry coordinator in Kansas, a pantry coordinator in Missouri, and then Gary Gomez, we call him Mr. Muscles. He does a little bit of everything and he is everywhere. So it's this crew of people who are doing all of those things. So it is, it's hard and it's wonderful. And I'm very glad to be doing it alongside with these people. And then the bottom right picture, my selfie skills that I learned from Mary Lee Harrison. Excuse me, volunteers and staff are in that picture there. This was a very, very cold day back in February when it was, I think, -10 outside. Pantry staff, we were still here, still feeding people because nobody stops being hungry just because the weather changes. Oh, I'm going backwards, sorry. This is from what we did when we served an additional 1,700 individuals at community events in 2020. So not just at our locations, but also out in the community. We're serving people food and basics. Excuse me. So the work of what we do is not just about food. It's the connections that we make for our agency, our connections to other agencies, and then our connections with each other. I've been very fortunate to get to know our volunteers who have just been relentless in their giving in 2020. And I've been so impressed by how much they give, how much they care, and getting to know them and their work that makes connections to more things. So like I said, sometimes you just want someone to listen, and that's what our volunteers and our staff are here to do in addition to the regular services that we provide. The first step for all of our services is our navigator. So that's 913-327-8250. 2,567 additional calls in 2020 to ask for services. And currently that's just one person who is our main navigator. And then we also split it among our case managers and care managers as well. So these are some numbers of what we distributed in 2019 and 2020. Harvesters accounts for 50% of the food that we distribute through Kesher KC. And the other 50% comes from our partner agencies like Canby's, like After the Harvest, like Kansas City Community Gardens, and like Pete's Garden. So it's not just canned goods that are coming to our clients. You know, a lot of people think food pantry means unmarked cans of beans. You don't know what you're getting. But we don't do that here. We do a lot of fresh. We have partnerships also with Costantino's Price Choppers and Hy-Vee's and other grocery stores in the neighborhoods who give us fresh produce as well. And the other 50% comes from donors. And these just happen to be cute little kids who go to school at the J at one of our food drives. So 50% of our food that we distribute out is food that people give from their own homes, their own pocketbooks. So a lot of people don't know what they should donate to the food pantry. They think beef stew and peanut butter, and those are great. We'll always take that. But if your family eats it, we will serve it. There's somebody else who wants it as well. We're out in the community. These are some volunteers, I think at Brookside Halloween Fall Festival last fall. We are always looking for volunteers. We would love to have you be a part of it. I would love to have more OASINs be a part of JFS. I know that some of you have been donors, and I am very grateful when I see your names pop up on the, hey, guess who dropped by sort of sheets. We also distribute a lot of paper supplies and personal hygiene supplies. Menstrual products are one of the most commonly asked for things after diapers. These are things that food stamps don't buy. This volunteer did a feminine hygiene menstrual product drive and brought us in, I think it was over $1,000 worth of panty liners and tampons and, you know, menstrual care like that. And that is just amazing. These volunteers are high school students and college students who are working together. There's a lot of manual labor that goes into it right now. So the boxes that are on the carts here are filled with everything that a family would need for a week worth of food, except for their fresh produce, which they have in the bags, and their eggs, their refrigerator items. So it seems like not a lot when you're giving somebody one box of food, but when you keep in mind that they're connected with a case manager who's probably also working with them on their food budget, who's helping them make sure that they're connected with you know, any medical resources that we can provide. The food is just the start. The food is the basics. You know, if you're familiar with Maslow's hierarchy of needs, you know that those basics at the bottom really are, you know, food, shelter, to get started. And then from that, you can grow and develop and become, you know, your highest self. So the box of food, it doesn't look like much when you're doing it, but if you were to price out each individual item, it ends up being a couple $100 worth of food. And then if you add in things like incontinence supplies and diapers and pet food, it may not seem like enough because it's not, it never is, but it's enough to get our clients through for about a week's worth of food. We see our clients once a month, like I said, by appointment only. So the week that we're providing typically for them is filling in a gap somewhere. So we don't do emergency urgency at our locations. We help our clients have a plan in place for the long term. So while we do take, you know, emergent needs, if there is somebody who, you know, desperately needs food right away because they have nothing, we will absolutely feed them. But our goal is to wrap around our clients with our services so that not only are they receiving food for that minute, but they know what their plan is for the next week, for the next month, for the next year. We work a lot on planning and goals for that. We also partner with other agencies in the community. This, for one, the driver there is a client named Robert. He is one of my favorite smiley people on the planet. If you ever get a chance to talk to him, please do. Just take the chance to talk to Robert. He'll put a smile on your face. These two lovely people in the foreground are from Junior League. We partner with them, and they provide monthly cooking lessons online through the pandemic. And then eventually we'll be going back to in-person for them to do healthy cooking. They provide all the recipes and the ingredients, so that's an additional service of food for our clients as well. We also have a new activity at JFS called our Neighbor Market. And here you see one of our clients with one of our volunteers, who's a JFS volunteer and an After the Harvest volunteer. We have a little farmer's market at the end of the week, and it's not just the leftovers from the week previous, but After the Harvest and Canby's and some other community markets bring us fresh produce that was grown and harvested locally. They drop it off to us, and it's a way for us to get more fresh food to our clients. So like I said, not just the unidentified beans in the can, but we're always doing fresh produce. And then at these neighbor markets, we've also been offering, we had a partnership with Casey Care Clinic. They came and did COVID vaccinations on site. We have a partnership with Kansas City Digital Inclusion, which was able to provide our clients with free computers and the emergency broadband benefit. So our clients are coming to us for food, but food is just the first step to the next thing. So it's connections to food in a more secure future. I have to brag on these two brilliant, darling, wonderful, adorable small humans. They're mine. They really like the adventure of coming to work with mom. I put them to work though. So here they are sorting and organizing some personal hygiene supplies. They have a lot of ideas on what should go where. So the good news is that everything is well labeled for them to just follow the instructions. Like I said, with our COVID vaccinations, we are still offering those to the community as well. We're currently planning with the Johnson County Health Department to offer a COVID vaccination clinic at the J. We've been finding that there is a significant amount of vaccine hesitancy among our Russian-speaking clients. So we're trying to find ways to address that so that we can get our clients vaccinated. We currently have a 100% vaccination rate among our staff and volunteers. So we want to get it to our clients as well so that we can offer in-person shopping again. Right now, everything we do is curbside. So we want to be able to bring back that personal choice and voice sort of experience so that our clients can choose what they want. I also have my sense of obligation to tell you that we are doing our summer wipeout. The JFS Pantry distributes 2,759 rolls of toilet paper on average every month. And toilet paper cannot be purchased with food stamps. So we are currently doing a summer wipeout. If you are interested in hosting a toilet paper drive, personal hygiene supply, cleaning supply, anything like that, we will definitely love to connect with you on that. You can get on the website to find out how to do that. And you can drop it off at the J, you can drop it off at the Brookside location. Both are accepting toilet paper. And then this number, again, that's my buddy Gary. He is also one of those good people that if you get a chance to talk to him, he's the right guy to talk to. 913-327-8250 for our navigator to get connected with resources to find out how you can be a part. So that is I am all done sharing, so I'm going to stop sharing, and I am going to take any comments, questions, or concerns. Also, I like to ask for jokes about goldfish. So anyone have any of those?
I personally have no jokes about goldfish off the top of my head, but I will start with saying thank you so much, Brittany, for coming and speaking us today about what you've been up to and what your organization has been up to. Because obviously what you're doing is super important. And also it's always good to have more resources available. And as an aside, JJ's trying to make a joke. How do you know if the fish tank is level? How do you know, JJ? The bubbles are coming out both sides of the goldfish's mouth. That's bad. But you asked for that, so you know that's on you.
I accept that. I generally am open to goldfish jokes. So yeah. I do see Sarah asked about ethnic foods or kosher foods.
Yeah.
So our kosher pantry is at the J. Our Missouri pantry is not VOD supervised or certified. So we do have some kosher clients who shop specifically in Kansas. And honestly, the best way to help us out with that is a monetary donation, because we're able to go out and purchase kosher certified foods. Or I know there's a hen house just off 115th and Null near the J that has kosher refrigerator items. And honestly, we can use the meat specifically. Meat and dairy that's kosher certified is one of the bigger things that cost a little bit more. So we like to help our clients stretch their budget if we can address those more expensive needs. Because everyone knows ramen is cheap. Nobody needs ramen, to survive. Although it feels like it sometimes, because that's still my go-to food, even in my adulthood. But if we're able to provide the things that cost a little bit more so that they can stretch their budget in other ways, that would be excellent.
And then she's also asking, are there any zip code or residency restrictions?
Not as far as I know. My default answer is to defer to the navigator to make sure that we service you if you're looking for, help at home or Jet Express or any of those, services. But as far as the food pantry, no. If you can get to any of our JFS, I say any of them, there's two JFS locations, one in Kansas and one in Missouri. If you can get to one of our two locations, we will serve you without regard to residency.
Cool. And well, this goes right along with it. Maureen is asking what the hours of operation are.
So currently my job is to figure out what our hours of operation are going to be as we get more clients vaccinated, as we address the change of, services that are being provided. Obviously, when there were stimulus checks and tax returns, people had more disposable income or more survival income, depending on how you phrase it. And they were able to take care of other needs. So our numbers have not dropped significantly, but we have seen a slight decline. We're kind of waiting to see what happens with like the child tax credit and with kids in summer school and that sort of stuff. But right now in Missouri, we are open Monday to Friday. And in Kansas, because of the way the building is structured, we're currently open on Tuesdays, but we are working on getting the J so that we can have clients shopping in person again, instead of doing curbside. So we're still growing. We had that 99% increase over the past year, but I don't think we're done. I imagine when we look at our 2-year difference from 2019 to 2021, it's going to be over 100% increase in our clients served. So all the time, we do it all the time, except Saturday. That's it.
Saturday is a day of rest.
That's right.
And then David is asking how many donation locations? Is it just like the 2 buildings you can drop off at, or are there like bins at
So there are bins and barrels at lots of different locations. I know that the Starbucks in Brookside usually has a JFS donation barrel. The J definitely is your best bet. The Brookside location is your best bet. I know that some grocery stores have the Harvesters bins and a JFS bin. And honestly, if you donate to either of those, we will benefit from that in the long run as well.
Well, and Maureen is clarifying her question. She's asking, when can she deliver stuff?
Oh, Maureen, you can come by anytime. You got my number. You call me up anytime you want. Plus, I'll take you out to lunch.
Even better, Maureen. Even better there. I feel like I had a question, and I'm not 100%.
Are you asking when you can get more rabbit food? Because that's the other thing. We get a lot of pet food that's donated to us that we can't distribute to our clients. We get like big 50-pound bags of, we had rabbit food. We recently gotten duck food. My new favorite one, this is new for everybody in the agency as far as I can tell, is we got some primate feed that was donated to us. So if anybody, I know I call my kids house apes, but if anybody has any house apes that they need to feed, I have some primate food available for you.
I have a feeling I know where that came from.
Is it your fault?
Not my fault per se, but my fault adjacent maybe. But yes, so I was going to ask, are there any school programs that you all are attached to? Or is that something you're working on, or just not in JFS's wheelhouse?
For school programs, for like school lunches, that sort of thing?
Or just like school like doing drop-offs at schools for like lunches or whatever?
I gotcha. So we don't have any food preparation facilities as much as I would like to. And my culinary background definitely wants to save as much food as possible. Um, we have a program here called Family Empowerment Program, which is currently partnered with, I think it's the Shawnee Mission School District for their unhoused students. So we have a program specifically with them. We work with several other schools as well to make sure that our families are connected with services. We also work with like JVS, Jewish Vocational Services, United Intercity Services. We're connected with lots of different partners. So we don't do everything ourselves, but we are always able to refer out and get people connected. So yeah, I would love to do more box drops of fresh food. We've done a couple for the holidays and things. If anyone wants to donate a box truck, that would help us out once JFS has a box truck.
I mean, you never know with this group of humans. And I guess just one last question from me, or I thought I had one last question. So how can people get involved with volunteering? Because as you know, we have a lot of folks that like volunteering at different shelters and stuff. So how can OASINS get more involved?
So the first step would probably be through our website. There is a tab for the volunteer tab. We have a fantastic volunteer team, Vicky and Tolly, who somehow manage all 1,000 volunteers that we see throughout the year. And that includes for like high holidays, that includes food delivery to our clients who are at home, who aren't able to drive and get out. We always need, a lot of it is really just somebody to coordinate the collection site. So if everybody that's here right now signed up to host a toilet paper drive, that would have an impact on JFS clients for at least a year if everybody hosted something like that. And we do those things throughout the year too. So it's not just the toilet paper drive right now in the summer. It's the the high holidays. We collect matzah and grape juice. And in the winter, I think usually it's in February, we collect peanut butter and jelly for our Spread the Love event. So if everybody had just a barrel in their neighborhood and told their community people around them, like, hey, just drop off one thing, it goes a long way because we always have enough to share.
Well, thank you again for coming and talking to us about obviously these great resources, and then obviously also what you are just up to, because we all know that you're militantly kind. So this all tracks very well. So
I also like to say I'm happy to go bananas with anybody. So let me know when we're ready to go bananas.
I'll dress up as like an apple or something. I'll find an outfit. So thank you again, Brittany. And also thank you for bringing your family along today. Because that's also super cool. And I will release you and switch over to JJ to play us out, if that's okay. So I'm gonna switch it over to JJ, and before they get playing. As a reminder to everybody, KC Oasis is also a 501c3. We are completely volunteer run. If you are not a monthly donor and want to become a monthly donor, head over to kcoasis.org, click on that donate button, and you can sign up to be a monthly donor, or you can just, do a one-time donation and be on your merry way. And with that, we're going to close out with some music from JJ.
Y'all hear me okay?
There, that's better. How about that? Imagine there's no heaven. It's easier you try. No heaven above us. Oh, the sky. Oh, for today. No countries. It's hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for. Not really trying to. People, you may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. Hope someday is gone. Possession. I wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger. A brotherhood of man. Oh, you may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. Hope someday you will die, and the world will.
Well, thank you, JJ. I think Andy was trying to help us out with some horn music also in the background while you were playing. So thank you again, JJ, for filling in today for our missing musical guest. And also thanks to Audra and Brittany for being our community moments and featured speaker. And that's what we've got today for Sunday Gathering. See you all back here next week, same channel, and have a good rest of your week, everybody.